Hey, I'm in a different location right now. I'd ask you to guess, but why? So the location I'm at right now is Munich, Germany. I'm getting ready to go tomorrow to the Czech Republic, to Ostrava, a town a couple of hours east of Prague, where I'll be talking at an idea festival called Melting Pots. Melting Pot, sorry, just one pot. So I'm really looking forward to that. And I thought I would make a very quick video because somebody posted a comment on the video I made explaining how I think about the fact that the internet age and digital technologies have basically broken government as we know it. And this individual made a very nice, very astute comment where he said that he thought that our computer age has turned us into binary thinkers. You know, computers run on zeros and ones and either this path or that path, and that he thought, the commenter, and you can read his comments, it's on the lessons from learnings from my 60s part 2. He thought that this was affecting our politics, that everything was becoming too black and white. And great comment, and it made me think of a few other thoughts along those lines, so I thought I would do a very quick video. So first, about 30 years ago, there was a book that came out called The Alphabet and the Goddess, and the author's last name is, I believe I have it correct, Shlain, S-H-A-L-I-N. I'm going to try to throw up an image, include it in the video so you know exactly what book I'm talking about. And I remember, this is almost 30 years ago, being quite impressed by the book, because he argued that the emergence of patriarchal society was closely linked to the emergence of written language in ancient societies, such as the Greeks and obviously others. And his argument, and I have not done my own independent research, so I don't know if he's right or wrong. I don't know if he's been discredited or affirmed in the years that followed. But his argument was that matriarchal societies were much more important when you didn't have language, because when you didn't have a written language, absent that, you couldn't make a list, you couldn't do all those kind of anal, retentive, obsessive, compulsive things that modern organizations like to do. And his argument, which I'm not sure I agree with here, just from my own personal experience, is that women are not as good analytic thinkers as men are. In other words, men are much better about logical flow and things like that. And as a result, once written language was introduced, matriarchal societies began to diminish and eventually, for the most part, disappear. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what the comment made me think about, this argument that, you know, all these technologies affect the way we think. You know, I like to say, and something that deeply held truth for me, is that our ability to know anything is a function of our tools for knowing. So if you think about the history of cosmology and our understanding of our place in the universe and what is the universe in the first place, each new type of telescope has led us to essentially rethinking our theories about the universe, since Galileo and the first telescopes led him to change his views about the structure of the solar system. So if our tools for knowing affect our ability to know anything, in fact correlate exactly, I think, with our ability to know anything, then it only makes sense that the contours of our society are what determine how we think in the first place. What is acceptable thinking, what is not acceptable thinking. So you had, at the beginning of time in ancient Rome and ancient Greece, the Jewish nations, the Christian nations. You had this belief that life was ordered and managed by some external divine presence, and so you had to think in those ways all the time. And our language is full of phrases and ways we have of characterizing a situation that you can still trace the kind of religious orientation that was so prevalent, let's say even 1,000 years ago. The Enlightenment comes along and that style of thinking begins to change. And I think what really nailed it, even before the computer and the binary age, was the Industrial Revolution, and in particular the train. The modern train was like the internet of the 19th century. This was particularly the case in Europe, where all these quite different societies and cultures were all of a sudden connected, and you could get from one to the other in a day or two because of the train. And, you know, we didn't have things like precise times that everybody kept in a nation state or even in a community until the train, because trains couldn't operate a regular schedule unless there was a common understanding of regular time. And many other, I think, antecedents or early examples of the entertainment age really were driven by train life and what you had to do to make train life more interesting. So, for example, magazines came out because a magazine was something you could read during a train ride, and cheap pulp novels, things that you could, paperbacks that you could buy at a train station, read, and, you know, hand it off to the next person and not worry about whether or not it got lost or the expense if you were middle class. All of those things were incited by the train. So it's a good comment. I think that we are definitely, our thinking, the way we think, is held hostage by our current computer binary society. It would be great if quantum mechanics and quantum physics change that, because I think linearity is not all it's cracked up to be in terms of a thinking style. I really appreciate the comment. I hope that I'll have time when people make thoughtful comments like that one to engage them. And again, I thank anyone who is listening to these, commenting. If you like it, you can subscribe. It doesn't cost anything. It's just a way for letting YouTube know that you want to have this content pushed to you whenever it's available. So with that, and from beautiful and 20 degrees cooler than Texas, Munich, I bid you farewell.